Hello my lovely Flosstube friends and welcome back to my channel. A very, very warm welcome to you all. And when I say it's a warm welcome, it is warm. Here in the sunny southeast of England, it is hot, hot, hot. Finally, the fabulous weather has arrived. Don't get me wrong, we've had days where it's been quite nice. I wouldn't have called it full-on sun worshipping deck days. But that's where we're at now. So I'm sitting here trying to record this video as early as possible on a Sunday morning so that I can open all the doors and get outside because it's just too glorious to be in here. And it's far too hot, let's just say. What can I say, people? I am really quite badly late for my June update. It is now the 10th of July that I'm recording this video. Not to say you're going to see this on the 10th of July because it's too hot for me to sit in here and edit this video today, so that will happen at another time. But I'll try and get this video up as soon as I can. What can I say? June was an exciting month, people. Very exciting. So June was basically the month where all of a sudden my hips started to free up a little bit. So I started to do a few more things. The warmer weather came to see us, which means I've been, you know, pottering and tinkering, but not full on out there, but I'm starting to do the things. So what can I say? May madness, I was stitching all the things. June feels like it's the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So I don't really feel like I've stitched anywhere near as much as I could have or should have. But it is what it is. I never put myself under any, you know, hard and fast rules. I just go with the flow. And like I say, the weather here has been glorious. So glorious weather means I don't want to be indoors, I want to be outside. But I don't want to just be outside under an umbrella and sitting there stitching. I want to be in the sun and I want to be tinkering. So that's basically what I've been doing. But like I say, June was a weird and tricky month. So there was good stuff like being at home and still not being back to work, which was great. But then there was the PC failure. So basically the PC decided to go kaput and gave up the ghost. Needless to say, I had to make a decision of what to do. Now, did I hold off and not get a PC straight away? That wasn't really an option, given that I spend a lot of my time on my PC at home and doing my videos. And yeah, it was just a case of just throw caution to the wind, order a new PC. I ordered a new all singing, all dancing PC. I'll put a little picture in here. So I could have just gone with a bog standard basic spec PC, but given that I sort of spend my life on my PC for one reason or another, I wanted something that would be man enough now and make everything that I do super, super easy. The beauty of this one versus the other one is anything that now breaks on this one, I can just change components rather than having to actually just go and buy a whole new PC because it's a rather costly exercise. It's not cheap. What can I say? There was a few days there that I had to wait for the PC to be built and shipped to me. And then I had to go through the painstaking process of getting everything off of the old PC onto the new PC and do a bit of organisation, a bit of file structuring, because the one thing I had realised when it come to actually getting all of the stuff off of the PC and putting it on the new one was that I'd sort of lapsed a little bit in my organisation of my files and folders. So there was a bit of that because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to put a load of old dirt on this computer and slow it all down, putting all that stuff on there when it's stuff I really don't need. So that was a painstaking experience. I've learnt my lesson. Everything will be filed and structured appropriately going forwards. She says, famous last words. It's a bit like my stitching, really. So like I say, so yeah, June, new PC, lots and lots of other stuff happening. So therefore, the stitching feels like it took a backward seat this month. So, you know, May madness was just all about the stitching and June seems to have been not much of any of that, I don't think. This video really shouldn't take too long because I don't really have masses of stuff to show you. But that's not to say that I don't have anything. So let's dive on in and see what we've got. First things first. So May Madness was all about the starts. But there were a few starts in May that couldn't be started in May. One because one was a sale. So it was a stitch along but wasn't starting until the 1st of June. I confess, people, I do have 2 new starts for June. So let's start with the new starts. Now these new starts, I'd said that everything needed to be started in May. However, there were a few exceptions. So the exception was the sale, and also I had a new Bella Filipina chart that I really wanted to start, but I wasn't sure the fabric was going to turn up in time. I was right about the Bella Filipina. The fabric didn't turn up in time. I haven't actually started it yet, but that's where you will come in. So I'm going to need your help with that, but we'll do that later in the video. So because I couldn't start that one, and because I'd said that this particular chart was one of the ones that I wanted to try and get in for May, I didn't actually start it in May, I actually started it in June. So I think I started this on the 5th of June. There was a reason. I think I had it planned that it was going to start in the May, like I think the last day of May. I can't quite remember what happened, or whether I just put one stitch in it. I might have just put sort of one stitch in it just to say it was started, and then, yeah, but then actually didn't stitch on it until June. So, but it is a new start, and it is the Nora Corbett Cream and Sugar. This is the one, and I decided I'm not doing the orientations like this. I'm going to do them up and down. So I've got 2 up and down, 2 up and down, 2 up and down. And I've got this fabulous little skinny wall between my living room and my kitchen that this should fit on perfectly once framed. So I started with the tulip and fern design first. And I've started the tulip, and the tulip's going to go at the top and the fern is going to go at the bottom. And considering that this chart really should have been a breeze, I kept going wrong. So it took me forever to get this little bit done. But a start is a start. So here it is. I've started the border along the top, and I've just finishing the motif that goes at the top of the cup. And you would never believe that it took me as long as it has to stitch that. It shouldn't have took that long. I have no idea. How many days did it get? So that got 4 days. 4 days including the new start date. But yeah, I've started it. I just want to get to the bit where I start stitching the teacups now, because I really, really love the teacups. Really, really love the teacups. Don't ask me why. I have no idea what drew me to this, but yeah. I'm a sucker for a good china teacup. So, first new start. Second new start was my Stanley Morrison sale. Dizzy Stitcher and a number of others of doing the sale. It is Stanley Morrison sale, or Stanley Morrison's sale. I'll put it here. I don't have the picture of it here, so I will put that in for you so you can see that now. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this. So because I've already got quite a few full coverages, I really didn't want to go through the whole painstaking experience of another full coverage where there's lots and lots of background, and I get stuck in the whole lots and lots of background. So I decided that I would try and chart out the background myself. I know, well, I say chart it out, basically just not stitch it. But because of that, I couldn't do it on my usual easy count or gridded fabric. So I decided to go with a patterned, and would you believe it is opalescent as well. So I now have a patterned fabric. The fabric is by Sparklies and it's called Dusk. So it's got like a fade in it. I can't say that I stitched massively on this. What did we get? I got 3 days on this. So I made the start, which was most important. So here's the fabric. So it's like an ombre effect fabric. Oh yeah, we can see the fabric. And this little portion up here, as you can see, the gridding is not there. So what I'm trying to do, she says, is work out a rough idea of where I was going to start the top part of the moon without going right to the top of where I'm going to actually start the stitching, if you like. Because the chart The chart is by Pain-Free Crafts and they don't do a background removal. So, but she turned around and said it should be really easy for you to just sort of work your line round. So I thought, well, rather than start with the whole trying to work my line round, I'd start sort of just slightly down from that, stitch in and around the centre and then slowly work my way out until I'm happy with where I want to be. So that's my plan. I've never done this before. Hey, it's something new. I do love to give myself a good challenge. So this is where I've got to. So like I say, I've basically got 1 square, then 2 squares, and I'm just working on this to bring this 3 squares or 4 squares down. So the plan is that my way of working how I'm going to sort of not lose myself on this fabric, because obviously you know how tricky I find counting to 10. And because it's not gridded, I thought, well, that shouldn't be a problem as long as I stay in my 10 by 10 blocks. So as long as I'm still stitching in my usual diagonal 10 by 10 blocks, there's less room for error. And I say that there's less room for error. That doesn't mean there won't be any errors. This is me we're talking about. But yeah, I'm happy so far. And this one is being stitched on a 28 count. It's a 28 count even weave, and I'm doing it 2 over 1 tent stitch because I want it to go faster. Faster. So I'm very, very happy with that. And I love this fabric. It's just, I just need to get my head around the fact that it's not gridded. And that just because it's not gridded doesn't mean I can't stitch on it, because I can. I've proved that. I've already started. And I've stitched on other projects that aren't gridded. So as long as I stay in my blocks, I should be fine. And when I get further out to where the line starts to become the fuzzy area of what's background and what is the actual design that I want to stitch, that's where it could get a little bit, it will slow down, because I'm not really gonna know what I'm doing. I'm gonna basically be winging it at that point. But what's new there? I love to wing things. So that was another new start. So again, so that one got 3 days. So again, not a lot, but I started it, and that was what I needed to do. So that was it for the new starts. I've got another new start waiting in the wings, but we're going to talk about that towards the end, because I need your help. I need your help with that one, and you'll see why shortly. Next up, the whips. Whips. So what else did I work on? So I worked on, do you know what? There's so many projects that I had in my mind that I was going to get out and I was going to stitch this month, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen, people. Because I got so suckered into other things, and then the things that I was stitching, I was totally loving. I didn't want to put them down. So because I didn't want to put them down, but I knew I was on a limited stitching time, I just ended up sticking with the ones that were already out. I'm not sure whether it was laziness or just that I was having a ball with what I was stitching on. So next up is my Bella Filipina Mayari. So about now I will be showing you a picture of what she last looked like. And I've absolutely been having a blast with her, I'll be fair. You know, when I was stitching on my Mirabilia Andromeda, and I was like, well, she's alright. This one, complete opposite end of the spectrum. I'm like, I love her. I love her so much. So here is where I've got to. Now, the fabric, it doesn't help that I've got nothing to put behind the fabric. Let me see if I can put this box behind. Oh, there we go. Maybe that will help. So this is where we've got to. So I've been working on her hair, her face. I think we already had like the booby section here. I've worked this bit, and now I'm just working, no, where am I? There's a circle around her head, so I did want to go up there, but there's a lot of beading and bits and pieces in there. So I thought, well, I'd work my way down, get this bit done, and then I would go up and round, and then I would stitch it all the way down. But that is where we have got to. Love, love, love. The only downside to this project is the fact that because this fabric is as dark as it is, I really struggle to be able to stitch on it at night time, just because my eyes won't let me. So I tend to find that I'm best to work on this in broad daylight. Definitely broad daylight is better for me. So because of that, my only concern is once I'm back into the thick of things and I'm back to work, and I don't think I'm going to be stitching on this very much through the week. This will have to go into my weekend stuff, but I'm sort of the same with my heids as well, because I only get like maybe an hour to stitch in the evenings. I don't tend to lean towards my heids, because again, it's like an hour of stitching for some squares won't even get me 100 stitches. So I tend to go for other things. So yeah, I think I'm going to be sort of changing things up a little bit, because I'm going to be going back into working in the office, not just working remotely how I have been for the last 3 years. I know when I say it like that, I'm like, wow, I was privileged. And I was privileged. But the problem is, after being working from home for 3 years, it's going to be so hard to go back and just get back into the rhythm of getting up and going out so early in the morning and not coming back till late, and then trying to sort of fit everything in and not absolutely be shattered. So we also stitched on, we being the royal we, of course, us. For those of you that watch my live streams, you will know that I have been working predominantly on my Littlehouse Needleworks Summer ABCs. Here it is. So I'm going with a pink conversion of this, not the oranges. The threads that I pulled for this are just randoms that I had just because I wanted to. I had really no idea what I was doing with it, but I'm quite pleased that I did, because I absolutely love it. So where you saw it last, I will put a picture here. And this is where I've got to. So I'd already done this bit. And we've got down to the little beehive at the bottom here. So, yeah. We had some issues on the stream with this little beehive, in that I stitched most of it only to find I'd gone wrong by one and had to unpick it and restitch it. So my Stitch With Me Live was more like a Stitch With Me Live and Frog With Me Live. It was, yeah. Those of you that were on it, you know. And for those that watched it as a rerun, you also know. It was fun, wasn't it? I say no more. But apparently I wasn't the only one that was being visited by the frog. There was a number of other people on the live that appeared to be in the same frog moment as me. So we joined forces and did it all together. So Summer ABC's got 2 days. And when I'm saying 2 days, it didn't get 2 days. It just got 2, however long I was stitching on it. And then finally for, no, not finally for the whips. The next whip is my Winter by the Cricket Collection. I know. Well, it is July now. So really this needs to come out this month, doesn't it? Because everyone does Christmas in July. So I need to make sure that I get that in for next month's update then. So I need to get some more done on this. Let's see how I get on with that. No pressure, people. So this one got 3 days worth of stitching. And this is where we've got to. So I haven't quite finished the R. I think there's a snowflake or something that goes over there, but I've got bored over there. So we've gone over to the eye. So I've been stitching this section and I've done all this section. So I need to put the threads in there to match. I couldn't find the thread. So I just need to pull that thread out, get those in, finish the I and get the W in. And at least all the letters are done, and then I can just concentrate on the snowflakes, because you just know how much I love snowflakes. Not white snowflakes bore me, but it won't bore me when it's done. But I think it's quite apt that, you know, 1 minute I'm working on something that says summer, and then the next one I'm working on, it says winter. So I'm trying to stick with the seasonal. Because I will be travelling into London this month, something like this might be the perfect thing to sort of focus my attention on my commute. Because yeah, 4-hour commute a day, of which I must admit, the train journey home, I don't expect to see anything other than the inside of my eyelids, because that's just the way I roll. And I'm sure that won't change. But the travel in, I normally used to sit and stitch. So yeah, so I think I will probably try and take this one on the train. It's on the little small Q-snap as well, which makes it really easy to just pop it in my handbag. But it would be nice to sort of sit and get this done. People might think it's a bit odd that I'm sitting there stitching on something that has snowmen on it though, in the middle of July. But we know what it's all about, right? It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. So that is winter. Winter, like I say, 3 days, literally. The winter and the sugar and tea, or sugar and cream, would been upstairs. So whenever I go and lay on the bed and chill with the girls, that was when I was sitting and doing a bit of stitching, which most of the time has been really late at night. I've done like 10, 15 stitches and then been like, done, it's bedtime. So yeah, they're not getting hours or lots of time of actual stitching. But then this is me. We already know how my time goes when it comes to my stitching. Seem to make lots of time for everything. I don't know what it is about this camera. Every single time I do a video where I've moved the camera away from the PC and it's on, or runs on its battery, it always shuts off. I have no idea. No idea. So finally, for the whips, what was the last whip? So the last whip that I've stitched on is my alternative reality. And about now, you should be seeing where you last saw it. This is currently on my scroll bars and I'm going to finish. I've got the square that I'm working on and then the next 10 by 10 block down from that, and then this is going to go away again because I've done quite a bit on this, I think, over this month. And this is where I've got to. So I'm trying to get the whole design on the diagonal so that I can start at the top and diagonally stitch down, not diagonal stitching, diagonal block stitching. Just because it gets really boring when you have to work, when I used to work in the pages, because the pages predominantly are sort of like, you know, that'll be the same colour, I'd get really bored like halfway through because it's like, oh, it's the same colour, working on the same stuff, I'm not seeing anything new, it's just the same colour. Until you get into actual design, like into the like face and stuff. So because this is more about background that's going on, I get bored of working on the same colour. So the method to the madness is if I'm working in diagonal blocks coming down, I'll get to stitch different colours, which will change things up a little bit, so it won't get quite so dull. That's the plan. That's where I'm coming from. So as you can see, I've been stitching down here in this section, and I've got this bit that I'm going to finish, and then one more block down here, and then this is going to go away and I'll bring something else out. But I've actually got quite a fair amount of stitching done on this one. This one was on an easy grid. You can sort of see that there's a very faded grid on it. But you know what? This project is now so old and been on the frame so often that most of the grid has disappeared, which is one of the reasons why I was thinking, well, if I can manage my alternative reality without any grids on it, then I can't see why I can't do the dragon, the garlic dragon. Because there's no grids. In this section here, if I move my thread, look. I mean, I know you can see some slight fades down here, but all this bit, when you're actually stitching it, I can't see the grids. The grids are like non-existent to me. So, in my opinion, if I can manage to do the block by block on this and not lose my way, it should be fine for the dragon. But yeah, absolutely been having a blast with her. And believe it or not, this one is the one that I absolutely love, but I find really tiresome because I'm stitching it 1 over 1 full cross. It takes so much longer. I didn't realise how much longer it was taking me to stitch this one versus the ones that are like 2 over 1/10 stitch. But I do like the whole full cross look. I'm just not sure that I like the time that it's taking. So there we go, people. Like I say, not masses of stitching has happened this month. Was I as productive as I would like to have been? No, but the explanation was there, you know. The hot weather came, and you know, this time of year, sort of anywhere between May, June, July, August. I mean, I've actually disappeared from Flosstube a number of times through those months because I'm like, well, I can't do a video because I haven't stitched on anything. So I haven't stitched on anything because I've been too busy either working or in the garden or sunbathing or just doing all the things. It's like, well, I can't exactly update and say, hi people, how you doing? So yeah, so you know, I'm hopeful that I will still be stitching throughout this year because with the train journeys back into London, I'm rather hoping that I'll still have something to show you. So I can always do a video. Watch this space. I have a plan, but I have no idea how tired I'm going to get, in all fairness. I have no idea. So, you know, it may be that I get so tired that I don't get round to doing much stitching. So that is it for the stitching for this month. I can't say that I was expecting much more than that. It would have been nice given that I was at home and it wasn't working, but the good weather came. The sunshine comes out and yeah, I want to be outside. Always want to be outside. Right, what else to talk about? So, do you remember? Now, prepare yourselves, people. Way back in November, I done a giveaway where there was 3 winners. 2 of them came back to me, 1 of them didn't. And the one that didn't was for the one that was the All Things Bright and Beautiful by Stony Creek. Here it is. So that person still hasn't come back to me. So I've decided that I would redraw it. And I've redrawn, and the winner is Lilia Webb. So Lilia, if you would like to reach out to me with your details on, so I will get this chart to you in the post pronto. Probably best to send me an email because I pick those up really quite quickly. And then that is the giveaways done and put to bed. What else have I got? So I was on Flosstube and I think I was watching a video, I think it was Heart in Hand. And they were sharing some bits and pieces on there. And you know when you see something, it's like, oh, that's so lovely. Well, because here in the UK, I had to go and do my little bit of searching around. Peakside had some of the charts, but not this particular one. So I reached out to her and I said, have you got this one or can you get it? She said, we haven't got it yet. She said, but if you do a pre-order on it, she said, then as soon as it comes in, we'll let you know. So I did the pre-order on it. I'm not going to stitch it yet, but it's definitely one that I want to get stitched fairly soon. And because it's so small, I think it'll be great. It's a great little thing to stitch on. So how cute is that? Look at that little drum. I've never done a drum. So for me, that was like, it's perfect, but it's flowery. I love flowers. And it's quite apt. And the fact that it's as small as it is, I was like, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. And I can attempt to make a little drum. And if I can't make a little drum, then it may need to go to Lynn. And we'll let Lynn finish it here in the UK instead. So I purchased myself another chart. I know I've got more charts than I know what to do with. I don't need another one, but I couldn't help myself with that one. So then finally for stitchy type stuff, you'll remember that I was like, this has to be a new start for May Madness if the fabric turned up. And it was my maiden, I can't say the name because I butcher it every time. Sorry about the twinkles. It's in its cellophane still. I decided I really wanted to stitch this lovely little mermaid by Bella Filipina. But I had a sneaky suspicion the fabric wouldn't turn up in time, and I was right because it didn't. However, the fabric has turned up. But this is where the dilemma comes in. Because I was so unsure. So when I looked at this chart, I love what it's stitched on. I love the fact that it's got like the turquoisey, bluey, grey, blacky sort of background. But I can't get my hands on that fabric. So when I went on to Pole Stitches done a recommendation. So they recommended, she says, they recommended Aphrodite. However, I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Aphrodite. Because on the website, when I was looking at the fabrics, I quite liked the Atlantis fabric. So, I decided that I can't really have too much fabric, especially hand-dyed. I can always put it to good use somewhere along the line. So I ordered both. Now, this is where you come in. You need to help me pick, because I'm looking at it now. I've got it here and I still don't know. It hasn't helped having the two. I thought it was going to be one of those moments where 2 bits of fabric turn up, I hold the chart against it and it's a total clear winner. And that's not happened. So, I'm sorry about the rustling, because I'm going to take them out of their wrappers. Okay, so when they're out the wrappers, they initially don't seem that different, but they are. So, one is like a purpley pinky blue. I think that's a fairly good colour replica. So this is the one that they've suggested is the perfect colour for that. And I can sort of see the point now that I've got it out the cellophane. What do we think? So that's the colours. And you can see it's got a bit of pinky purple in there. It's got blues in there. Yeah, I could see how that could work. But like I say, that wasn't my first choice. That was the recommendation. The one that I thought would go was the Atlantis. See, and I still don't know. So this one has got greens, and let me unravel it for you. So this one is more sort of greeny, a greeny blue rather than a pinky blue. So what do we think on that one? Oh, it's so hard, people, isn't it? Should we take her out the cellophane? Might help, mightn't it? Because all that cellophane action is problematic. Right, okay, let's have a little look now. So, choices. We can either go with Atlantis, which is the greeny blue. I quite like it. Or the Aphrodite, which is the pinky purpley blue. What do we think? Decisions. I hate this. This is the bit about. This is the bit that I hate. Is the decision of picking the fabric. It's such a. So there we go. What do we reckon? I don't know. I'm still leaning. I think I'm still leaning towards this, but I don't know. I need your help. You need to help me. What would you pick? Help me out. So would it be this one? So the one to the left with the green and the blue is the Atlantis. This one over here is the Aphrodite. Is it Aphrodite? I'm sitting there saying it's Aphrodite from Pole Stitches. Aphrodite. Which one would you pick? I just need some other people's views. And if you pick them, why? Because, you know, and the more I look at this, the more I'm sort of... I know it doesn't have a lot of green in it, but it does have tinges of green over here and here. And there's not much actual pink on this original fabric. I don't know. So yeah, I need your help and assistance, people. The Flosstube community has never let me down yet. I'm sure you're not going to let me down now. Help me out here. Help me make my decisions. Because I'm struggling. I think I know which one I want to go with. She says. But I want to see what the majority of you would say. So there we go. Little call for help, people. Little call for help. So that is it. My work here is done today. She says. In all truth, that is it. What to tell you. I'm going back to work, or officially back in London as of the 25th of July. I'm going to start phase working from home this coming Monday. Just to sort of, you know, start getting up to speed with what's happening and join some of the calls. I don't plan on doing too many hours of that, given that I'm actually officially back on the 25th of July. Oh, exciting news. So next weekend on Friday, long weekend, so Friday to Sunday, I am heading off to Crewe for the Chatelaine retreat. So really looking forward to that, getting to see the ladies. I get to stitch my chatelaines. I've got 2 chatelaines. I've got Evening in the Park, which has been seriously neglected, people, seriously neglected. And I have got my Frosty Knot Garden. I might take another one with me just so that I've got something else to stitch on if I fancy it. But the plan is to try and use the Chatelaine retreat to actually work on a chatelaine, because that does make total sense, right? That's the plan. So yeah, going back into London as of the 25th of July, so I'll be going back to work. So things might change up a little bit. It's been 3 long years. 3 long years of not actually commuting into London and not having my 4-hour-a-day commute and working from home only. It's going to be a bit of a culture shock. So initially, I don't anticipate that I'm going to be doing much of anything, because I think I'm going to be absolutely shattered. Along with the fact that although the hip is better and it's a million times better than it was, I still struggle with walking any real distance. So sort of anything more than about 15 or 20 minutes, my hip starts to let me know that it doesn't like me very much. And if I've sat down for too long and I go to stand up, it's still a bit sore and can be a bit stiff. Obviously, working in an office, I do tend to sit down. And even if I sit down for an hour normally, you're still stiff to get up. So yeah, so it's going to be a little adjustment. So it may be that I don't really want to do much of anything other than work and sleep for the first month or so. But I think once I get back into the groove, I'm sure I will adjust my body and energy levels back to the requirements for going out into the big wide world and having to deal with people and work. And yeah, I have had it very, very easy, and I've been extremely privileged to be able to work from home for the last 3 years. It had to end at some time. So yeah, back to reality, people. Back to reality. But hey, if I'm going to have to go back to reality and start doing all the walking and start getting on buses and doing the commute, what better weather to do it in? I don't want to do that in the freezing cold or when it's raining. And the only thing that really does worry me is the girls, of how the girls are going to cope with mummy going back to work. They're not going to be left alone. They'll have Lauren, but we do have like a routine, and that routine's going to sort of get, you know, thrown up in the air for them. So there might be some adjustments with the poochies as well, but they've been super good. They've been sitting over here on the floor, you know, just looking at me like, Mum, what are you doing? what are you doing talking to that weird tripod thing? We're bored and we're hungry. It's breakfast time. So yeah, so you haven't even heard them, have you? So the fact that you haven't heard them means that they've been exceptionally good girls. But they are being adorable. They're not giving me too much of a run for my money. But like I say, it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for them having mummy go back to work. Seems as, yeah, they're a bit clingy to mummy. And Princess Bonbons is no longer a princess. Princess Bonbons is now Queen Bonbons. So Bonbons... So I call her Bonbons now. Her name is Bonnie, but we call her Bonbons. Bonnie is in season. I know. I can't even believe I've had her that long that she would have her first season. And being the smallest, she's gone first. So we've been having her in her pretty pants and keeping her all, you know, ruffled up so that, you know, it's as clean and tidy as it could be. She's been a little off the weather, I must say. She's really, yeah, I think she struggled a little bit. It's, you know, I think if Bonbons can struggle with this, I dread to think what Honey's going to be like. She's going to be a nightmare when it happens to her. But there's still no sign of anything happening with Honey. Like I say, we're in week 2.5, nearly 3 weeks for Bonnie. So she should be coming out of season sort of in the next 7 days, I think. But she's starting to bounce back a little bit more now. So yeah, she's had a lot to contend with, I love her. That's about it. I think there's nothing more to update you on at this present moment in time. The plan is to try and carry on with the Stitch With Me lives on a Sunday where I can. If I can't do that, then maybe just upload a Stitch With Me video. So I will keep you all posted as best I can. I hope you are all stitching like crazy, having absolutely amazingly fabulous weather like we are. Yeah, it is now time for me to go feed the girls, head out into the garden, drag my sun lounger out and go and lay myself on the deck for the day. Maybe a little bit of deadheading and a spot of tinkering. But for now, I just want to go out in the sun. I'm ready for the sun, people. We don't get enough of it. So when I do get it, we're like crazy people. We need to be outside in the sun. So that's where I'm heading now. Thank you so much for all your support on the channel. I really do appreciate it. You've all been wonderful. I've had amazing messages from everyone regarding the hip and my mum, and I do really appreciate all the support that I get on this channel. So yeah, don't worry guys, I'm not going to disappear. I'll be around and I will definitely be doing videos, but structurally it might slightly change initially, just through that phasing period of getting back into the swing of things. If you've enjoyed this video and you like what you see, please don't forget to hit the little subscribe button, give me the thumbs up and let me know that you like it. And until next time people, thank you so much. Again, thank you for all your amazing support and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.